sounding wonderful. And we also want to appreciate Minister Donnie Savage for this opportunity to broadcast live on C-Joy Network. We are here live on C-Joy Network, a family station. And we are here with Legal Views with attorney Sheila R. Stewart. I am located at 231 South Bemidji Avenue, Clayton, Missouri, Suite 800, 63105. And that number is 314-854-1339. In the studio, we have the one and only, the powerhouse community activist. I mean, he is an activist down through the years. Mr. James Clark, Vice President of the Metropolitan Urban League. You have done a tremendous work in the St. Louis community for over 25 years. You have been a mover and a shaker, to say the least. You have been recognized by the United States Department of Justice, former President Trump, the Obama administration. You have been recognized from St. Louis to New York, from New York to California, for the work that you have done. You have created many initiatives to impact and to stop crime in the urban corridors. Many young men have reached out to you when they were in trouble. They have contact when the police are looking for them. Many of them have you to bring them into the police station. And we want to thank you, Mr. Clark, for the tremendous impact that you are making in the nation. You know, you've been on MSNBC, CNN. I don't know if you've been on Fox, but you've been around speaking about how to abate crime, how to raise up communities. You are an Army vet. You attended the Harvard John F. Kennedy School of Government, and you've also worked in the mayor's office. And welcome to Legal Views, James Clark. How are you today?
Oh, Sheila, I am doing well. I want to thank you for, having me. I want to then commend you and the team with the C-Joy Network for bringing information on this platform, because too often the media and television in general is so very, very toxic and very divisive. So I want to commend you and the staff at C-Joy Network for understanding that we've got to get information out that people can benefit from, information that is relevant. And I would encourage everybody to, help spread the word about Legal Views with Sheila Stewart, and to let's make C-Joy Network one of the largest, first in St. Louis, then see how we can move it regionally, and then how can we take it and make it a national voice in the African American community. So I commend you and the team.
Well, thank you. And we commend you. And like I said, we are excited to have you here. You are doing a tremendous work. Now, before we get started, I want to explain to many of our listeners that many people may not be aware of some of the work that you are doing. I want to first discuss the escalation centers that you are doing. You were recently awarded over $1 million for this concept. This is a concept that you developed. You alone developed this concept of these de-escalation centers. Can you tell us the whole concept behind the de-escalation centers and how you came to develop such an amazing concept?
Yeah, thank you, Sheila. It all started with a yard sign campaign. I was literally walking into a gas station one morning, and a young man said, "Hey, aren't you Mr. Clark?" And went on to tell me that his nephew had been shot. And then he ended the statement with, "Man, we must stop killing each other." So I went in and I got my cup of coffee. And as I was walking out of the gas station, there was a sister walking towards me. And she said, "Aren't you Mr. Clark?" And I said, "Yes." She had said, "I love the work you do because we got to stop killing each other." And I said, "Man," she said the same thing he said. Mm-hmm. Then when I got to the office, there was a grandmother waiting there who told me that she had just lost her grandson. And she wrapped her statement up with, "Mr. Clark, when are we going to stop killing each other?" And I was like, that's the third time I heard that. So I went to my office and I wrote down, "We must stop killing each other." And I would say, Sheila, probably about an hour, a vendor that I get a lot of T-shirts from called and said, "Mr. Clark, I want to do some T-shirts for you because you've been such a good supporter of ours, African-American owned business." And he said, "What should I put on a T-shirt?" And I said, "Put 'We must stop killing each other' on a T-shirt." So a couple of days later, the T-shirt came and I took a picture of it and I put it on Facebook. And within about 10 minutes, it had over 500 shares and hundreds of likes. So me being an old political war horse, I love the yard sign because the yard sign makes a statement of real support. So I ordered 500 yard signs and I sent my outreach workers into the community and I said, let's just go down page and put the yard signs out. About 15 minutes to an hour later, they came in and I said, "Where are the yard signs?" And they said, "Mr. Clark, everybody wanted one." So we got the yard signs out, Sheila, and then the phone started ringing, literally within a matter of days. And we were getting calls from people. "Hey, I see your yard signs everywhere. My brother's, my sister's old boyfriend is threatening to shoot her new boyfriend. Y'all need to do something about that." So I called the guy. "Well, tell me about your sister's old boyfriend. Tell me about your sister's new boyfriend. In fact, let me come sit down and talk to your sister." So I would go talk to the sister, get all of the dynamics, get all of the dimensions of the conflict, and then work to de-escalate the conflict. 2 or 3 days later, "Mr. Clark, my daughter had a fight with a young lady and her brother is on Facebook threatening to shoot my daughter. I don't want my son to find out because if he find out, he gonna go get the guy. Well, let me come sit down with you and talk about it with you, your daughter, and maybe we need to let your son know so that he hears it from a calming source." So Sheila, after about 5 of those, I realized that we had entered a space where we could begin to de-escalate conflicts before they rose to the point of gun violence. So we reached out to neighborhood churches, a church in South St. Louis, a church in Midtown, a church in North St. Louis, and the pastors were understanding. You know, one of the things that I believe is we've got to restore the role of the neighborhood church, and I'm sure that we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
But the pastors agreed to open up their church on Tuesdays between the hours of 5 and 7. And we went to Nate Dixon. Then it was Radio 1, and they began to do PSAs. If you know of a conflict that's heading towards gun violence, come to one of these 4 churches any Tuesday between 5 and 7. We had counselors there, licensed clinical therapists there to document the conflict. I had an outreach worker there who has the necessary street savvy to read between the lines and to really discern the real essence of the conflict. And Sheila, we began de-escalating conflicts. It was nothing short of miraculous. Parents, relatives, common people really took advantage of it. And so we knew that we had stumbled onto something that had a place, not just in St. Louis, but you have conflicts that can be de-escalated, conflicts that are brewing all over the country. In every urban core, there are low-level conflicts that can be de-escalated. So we collected the data. Washington University came in and they did all of the research on the model. It caught the attention of former U.S. Attorney Jeff Jensen, who flew me to Washington, D.C., and I did a presentation to U.S. attorneys from all over the country. And all of them were very excited about having the de-escalation model come to their city. It is a model that is long overdue, and it really cuts against the whole stop snitching code, because in our neighborhoods, the fact of the matter is there can be a shooting and you can have 5 or 6 or 10 witnesses and no one wants to say anything. That's understandable because of the history of distrust with the police and the fear of retaliation. So that's a real dynamic. With the de-escalation model, Sheila, we de-escalated a conflict where a young man, 15 years old, called us because he heard his brother arguing with a guy. Both of them threatened gunplay. And this 15-year-old found a flyer and called the de-escalation center. Okay.
Wow.
We're sitting in the living room. And after we de-escalated the conflict, the 15-year-old looked at his older brother and said, "This wasn't snitching, this was prevention." And I said, "We got a tagline now." Now we have a tagline. The de-escalation center is not snitching, it is prevention. So we were very happy to get the support of the governor, who put us in touch with the excellent staff over at Arches, led by Brother Kimbrough, who's doing a great job overseeing the program. And so we are very excited because we've got to have relevant programs in our neighborhoods that people will take advantage of. Too often we get too cerebral, where we overthink the problem, and then we come up with solutions that are not steeped in reality. So the gun violence de-escalation centers are saving lives. And then just one more piece is, if we cannot de-escalate the conflict, Sheila, then we move somebody out of town. If we cannot de-escalate the conflict, we go to one of the adversaries and their family. And we say, "Look, we can't trust that." Or we say, "Look, he's in too deep and there's too many people coming after him. We recommend that he relocate." And over the years, we've probably relocated about 35 people who understood that if they stayed here, they would wind up being the victim, or they may have had to they may wind up shooting someone having to defend themselves. Very, very innovative model, saves lives, and we're very excited about it. Very excited about the de-escalation model.
The model is outstanding because you take institutions that's actually within the neighborhood, and you identify these places where an individual feels comfortable going into this place. And you bring all of these people to the table, and you create an environment where people feel comfortable coming in and don't feel like they're going to, get shot or, killed just going into the place. Tell us about the escalation centers currently available for individuals to go to right now if they are having a very violent problem. And I just want to give you a shout out. When we were working with a family several years ago, and we had placed a kid on a job, and he was in some type of a serious conflict, and the kid, they shot at the kid, and the kid, ran and, got away. Then we put the kid on another job and they shot at the kid again. The kid went to court. They tried to shoot the kid again. And you were part of that process, relocating that youth out of town, because no matter what we did to try to help this youth, they kept shooting at the person. So what escalation centers do we have now in the city of St. Louis, South City, North County? Where are these places located that if we have parents that will see this and they know their grandkids or their children are involved in drugs or violence or gangs, how can they get in contact with one of these escalation centers?
Yeah, Sheila, and to your point, we work with the family. When we're doing a de-escalation, we never go straight to either adversary, because if the adversary shuts down, then they may not open up. So in a situation where you brought us a case, we were able to talk to the adversary's family. Mm-hmm. And once again, it didn't take long for everyone to agree that a relocation would be the best answer. And Sheila, we try to resolve cases within 72 hours. So we have a 24-hour hotline where an individual can call at 3 o'clock in the morning and a live body is going to answer the phone. And we are in the living room normally the very next day, and we're trying to have some kind of resolution once again within 72 hours. So it's a sprint, because I trained my staff and I probably did the first 22 de-escalations. Mm-hmm. And my biggest fear was to have a mother or to have a brother say, hey, I called the hotline and you all didn't call me back for 2 or 3 days. And now my brother's in the hospital, or worse, mm-hmm. or my brother wound up shooting a guy, or something worse happened. So it's a gut-wrenching reality. But if anyone is out there that is in need of the de-escalation service, you can simply call 314-728-0264. And someone will answer that phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because we know that these situations come up every day. Mm-hmm. Every day, thousands of conflicts are, sparked. People don't have the confidence to go to the police department. We're giving people a non-threatening way to resolve the conflict and prevent a shooting, a homicide, retaliation. So it's a front end solution that is very, very relevant. And what I love about it, Sheila, is that the common people in the neighborhood see the value in it. See, if it doesn't have street credibility, it has nothing. So this model has the street credibility necessary, where the guys that are out here in the street life refer people to the hotline. So very excited about it. Very excited.
Can you talk about this new phenomenon that's going on in urban areas, especially St. Louis, where there's a beef in the street, a serious conflict, and an individual say, I am going to place $1,500 on his head, $2,000 on his head. And then these people are murdered within a small period of time for the $1,500 or the $2,000. Many people are not aware that this phenomenon is taking place. And we have to loop the church in. We have to loop in the prayer warriors. We have to do something at a higher tone for intervention to assist with this serious problem. And it can be a beef that's not even a big deal. Somebody looked at you wrong. Yeah. Or they thought you liked another young lady that somebody thought he wanted to speak or talk to. $1,500 on their head. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, Sheila, this one of the things that we have got to stop doing, and I said, and I kind of touched on it earlier, is we've got to stop analyzing gun violence. You know, we have got to stop studying it. We have got to we have got to stop. We have reached a point of what I call analysis paralysis. So many resources have gone into studying gun violence, when if we took a portion of those resources and took a deep dive into the psyche and into the neighborhood and into the mentality of gun violence, we can really have some strong results. I mean, when you listen to the music that our young people listen to now, the most popular songs are saying, I will shoot you, I have a 9mm, I have an AR-15. It's totally glamorized now. So while a certain segment of our community wants to be intellectual, we are practitioners. We believe that you got to engage it. So we have immersed ourselves in it, Sheila, and that trend that you were talking about, that's very, very disturbing. It's very disturbing, and it's here. It's here. And we have the gun violence de-escalation centers, but this is challenging the model. And this is what's happening. I could have a beef with a guy, and I got $2,000, right? And I'll tell 10 guys, normally these guys are maybe 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. I got $2,000 and I'm putting it on his head. Whoever kills him, you can come get this $2,000. Now, I tell 5 guys, then they tell 2 guys. Now, this guy has an army of people looking for him. And so that's the new variance in this gun violence culture. And it's not just St. Louis, it's every major city in America. And some rappers talk about it in their music. So Sheila, we have got to take a deeper dive. We have been so accustomed to narrative. We have been so drawn into surface level solutions. No solutions are on the surface now. We've got to be in the neighborhoods, on the front porch, and in the living rooms now. We've literally got to be in the living room of that 13, 14, 15-year-old who has an AR-15, so we can understand his mentality. And we got to have the resources in the neighborhood so that his single mother, she should be able to walk down the block to the closest church and find a mentor for her son. Because Sheila, at the end of the day, these young brothers, they're not looking at Nike tennis shoes no more. They aren't trying to get the latest Jordans. These boys want an AR-15 now. They want an assault weapon now. And shame on us for not doing what's necessary to calibrate to reach them. They don't come from space and land in the JVL neighborhood, the Walnut Park neighborhood, or the Wells Goodfellow neighborhood. They are walking down the street right now, and we're not engaging them. That's why it's getting out of control.
It's out of control.
Long answer to a short question. I'm sorry.
No, you're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. It is out of control. Let's talk about, because we're talking about how do we develop a solution, and not just a solution, but a sustainable solution to get rid of this problem. So let's talk about pulpit to porches.
Yes,
the role of the church.
Sheila, when I began doing outreach, the model called for outreach workers to go into a very small area, about an 8 to 10 block area. Don't deal with the whole zip code. Don't focus on all of North St. Louis. Let's focus on a manageable area, about a 5 to 7 block radius. And we began to do outreach, Sheila. We knocked on the doors. The families completed a intake form, asking the families what resources are most needed in your home. We would take that that intake form, give it to case managers, and then the case managers would get the families the resources that they needed. If they had a warrant, if they needed utility assistance, if someone in the house needed a job, if someone in the house was on drugs and they needed to get into rehab. So where the police were doing hotspot policing, we were doing hotspot resource delivery. Mm-hmm. So after about 4 years of that, the data was strong, some strong outcomes. Crime in those neighborhoods began to drop. But Sheila, when you sit in one living room and you sit in another living room and you sit in another living room, and you can see the level of dysfunction, you can see how while we're doing good work, there is a mentality, there is a sense of hopelessness, there is a lack of cultivation that is present in these homes. So we simply looked at the neighborhoods and we said, we've got to engage and we've got to involve the neighborhood church. You know, the church is the #1 populated institution in every neighborhood. So we started the Pulpit to Porches program.
Let me stop you right there. I love what you just said. Okay. People need to digest what you just said. That's very powerful. Can you say that again, please? And don't forget. Can you say that again about the neighborhood church, please?
That the church is the #1 populated institution in the neighborhood.
That's awesome. And that concept alone can revolutionize crime.
Sis, the church can change the culture. A unified church can change the culture of a neighborhood in less than 6 months. Yeah. A unified church. Mm-hmm. So we started the Pulpit to Porches program, and I was very proud, and I still am very proud of the number of churches that knew that their time had come. See, Sheila, we are in an era now where we've got to go into the neighborhoods and not talk and not march, but we've got to organize in neighborhoods. And the anchor of that organizing has to be the neighborhood church. It is the neighborhood church. So we are very proud of the church participation now. I'll have to thank Pastor Gainey of Lily in the Valley Church over on West Florissant. Have to thank Pastor Cannon in the Walnut Park neighborhood. Have to thank Bishop Mike Jones, Pastor Freddie Clark, who have all said, we know that this is the hour of the church. Mm-hmm. And it all starts in our more challenged neighborhoods. So when you look at a man like a Deacon Wooten, then when you look at what Leonard Baptist did, Leonard Baptist started a model where they began to grill hot dogs on Saturday mornings. A simple thing. And the grill became a magnet. The church put a hot dog, a barbecue grill in front of the church every Saturday. The first Saturday, about 5 little boys rode up on their bike, got a hot dog and left. The second Saturday, those 5 boys came back with about 8 of their friends. By the 4th and 5th Saturday, mothers were coming to get a hot dog, and it became a congregation place for the people in the neighborhood. So we sat back and said, what would happen if every church in North St. Louis put a grill in front of their church, what would happen? And then we started the Grill to Glory program. Unfortunately, Corona put a damper on it. But Sheila, we are looking to do some very innovative things with the neighborhood church. At the Urban League, we are empowering the neighborhood church. We have provided 50 to 75 food boxes for over 100 churches during this pandemic, so that the families could walk to the neighborhood church and get a food box. How revolutionary is that? We've got to begin to bring more resources into the neighborhood. Sheila, we are doing job fairs at the neighborhood church. So it's one thing to do a job fair and a person got to drive, or a person got to catch a bus, they got to catch the Metro Link. But it's a different scenario when a person can walk to the neighborhood church and get a job. So the role of the church has got to be amplified. And, you know, I can say that at the Urban League, our president and CEO, Mike McMillan, he's 1,000% behind our efforts to empower the neighborhood church. As the director of public safety, you can't talk about safety. You can't talk about neighborhood safety and not talk about organizing at the neighborhood level. Mm-hmm. And when you say we're going to organize at the neighborhood level, the church is the bedrock. And so some people see doom and gloom, but I'm excited about 2021, 2022, 2023. I think we will be able to put something forward with the neighborhood church as our anchor that will revolutionize St. Louis, and it'll be replicated all over the country.
Excellent. You are listening to C-Joy Network and Legal Views with attorney Sheila R. Stewart. We have the Vice President of the Metropolitan Urban League, Mr. James Clark, with us today, and he is providing valuable solutions. Now, whether you watch this feed and you live in Texas, you live in California, you live in New York, Chicago, these are models. These are logic models that you can take and insert into any crime-ridden area. So it does not matter what part of the country you live in. You can take this exact logic model, put these solutions in at the beginning of that model, and at the outcome, you're going to reduce crime. You're going to rebuild neighborhoods. You're going to restore families. You're going to prevent youth and young adults from going to prison. These are solutions that work, but we have to have more resources, and we have to have more individuals that's committed to doing this level of work. This work takes skill, it takes dedication, and it takes commitment. Now, Mr. Clark, I want to ask you about how do we replicate your personality, your connectivity with the community, that you can have now I've experienced this with you, that young men have committed crimes and the police are looking for them. And that you and that young man that have committed a crime have called me on the phone, and you have asked for, that young man has asked for legal advice. My legal advice has been, you need to turn yourself in. They're looking for you. And if they find you, and you might be more than likely to get shot or murdered. So turn yourself in. What is the connection where a young man can commit a horrific crime and then reach out to you? How do we create these James Clarks throughout Chicago, LA, Dallas, Houston, where when these individuals, they come to themselves, they got a car full of, assault rifles, and the police, they're looking for them. These individuals, they reach out to you. You get them to the police station. You get them to turn themselves in. I've seen it. I've been on the phone as an attorney, giving them advice, and you get these individuals to the police station. How do we recreate this? How do we duplicate this?
You know, it is credibility that is built up over, for me, over 30 years. Starting in 1989, I went to the juvenile detention center every Tuesday for 12 years. Every Tuesday, did not miss a Tuesday for 12 years. So over those 12 years, I talked to thousands of young men who are now adults. And so then I had the great fortune of working in the mayor's office under Mayor Freeman Bosley Jr., Mike McMillan, and myself. So that networking, and then bringing the resources of the mayor's office and depositing them on the block. Then me coming from the Jeff Vanderloo neighborhood, they must have my name and number written on a wall, because I get calls from guys from jail and guys who are on their way to jail, or guys who are trying to stay out of jail. And they say, man, I'm from the JVL, man. And I was told that you take care of JVL guys. God has blessed me to be a blessing. So all of the connections and all of the resources that God has blessed me to have, relationships with the governor, relationships with elected officials, judges, restaurant owners. I'm dealing with a lady now that I got to call a restaurant owner and get her some food. So Sheila, I'm a tool. God uses me like a hammer, and he says, James, you are a tool, and I'm gonna use you as long as you want me to use you. And so I said, God, I mean, I'm here for one reason, to be used. So Sheila, that case that you're talking about, young man was with a friend of his, and they got into an argument. And he shot and killed his friend. And his friend, his friend's family put the word out. We gonna shoot up your mama's house. We gonna shoot up your mama's house every day. And the young man's sister called, Mr. Clark, I don't know what you can do, but my brother accidentally killed his friend, and they supposed to start shooting my mama's house up tomorrow, and they gonna do it. And I said, well, let me come sit down and talk to your mother. So you got to be willing to go into the living room. And so I said, Mom, I don't want them to shoot up your house. We need to get a message to your son so that we can let the other family know that he's in custody. So the mother said that she would call her son and that I should come back at like 1 o'clock. And I go back and I'm sitting in the living room, and then the young man comes from behind the door. And I say, brother, I'm sorry about what happened. I'm not here to judge or to decide right or wrong, but they're threatening to shoot up your mother's house. And I'm willing to go talk to the other family, but the only thing that I can tell them to have them take that threat off your mother's house is if I can go knock on that door and tell that family that you're in police custody. Other than that, they coming to shoot up your mother's house. You know those guys. And so, Sheila, we were able to convince the young man, turn himself in, and then I was able to go knock on the door. And I mean, I walked in, and man, you would have thought I walked into into a military unit, because they were upset. They were hot, and they saw me, and they were like, "What is Mr. Clark doing here?" And I was like, "Look, guys, the young man turned himself in, so take the hit off of his mother's house." and they cried. Grown men cried. And so, you know, so that was just one of those things, Sheila, where, you know, credibility trumps everything. I hear all of the time, Mr. Clark, you don't have a college degree, but everybody listens to you. And they say, Mr. Clark, you never went to prison, but you have a lot of street credibility. That's called favor from God. Well, I can go into any neighborhood, I can go into any nightclub at any time. And today I was at the gym working out. 78-year-old man walked up to me and said, Mr. Clark, I've been watching you for years. I'm a retired insurance guy, and, you know, I want to do whatever I can do to help. I get notes from judges where, you know, they say, Mr. Clark, if there's a guy that you think I should show some kind of consideration to, let me know. And so it works well.
It does work well.
But how you replicate it?
James, let me tell you this. I have a situation with a judge now and with the young man that have done some things. And I was able to tell that judge that, you know, I work with you and that I have a long relationship with community development, with urban youth and assisting these youth. And the judge gave that young man an extension. They didn't put the warrant out for arrest. They didn't put it out for the second time. So your name rings strong in the judicial system. It rings very strong, and it carries a lot of credibility. And the reason why it carries credibility is because you get outcomes.
Yes.
You get outcomes. So we're at a place, if we want to see our communities get safer, if we want to see the streets get safer, we're going to have to start getting some outcomes. And you get outcomes. I want to recognize the president and CEO of the Metropolitan Urban League, the one and only Mike McMillan, who has done a phenomenal work in the St. Louis area for years. He is a trailblazer of change, and he has been a blessing. He has been a Joseph in the midst of this COVID-19, and he has distributed resources throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area. He has done a phenomenal work, and we want to recognize CEO and President Mike McMillan, and we want to thank you for the work that you have done, the work that you are yet doing. We want to thank you for all of innovative things, innovative resources, innovative ideologies. I mean, your team consistently come up with strategies to change society. And we thank you for that.
No, Sheila, Mike, I have always been a hard worker. And I guess it comes from watching my parents, then going off into the military, then working in the mayor's office for 4 years, where there was no difference from a Monday and a Saturday, and it was constant working in the mayor's office. So I have a strong work ethic. I will visit a family on a Saturday. I'll visit a family on a Sunday because I feel very passionate about my calling. But Mike has me beat. Mike is at the office most days until 7 or 8 o'clock. And so, I have a great deal of respect for Mike. He's the hardest working individual I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
And he's an excellent CEO. He is an excellent leader, and he's put together a strong team. When you look at Tom Bailey, who was formerly over the Missouri Black Expo, when you look at Michael Holmes, who is a workforce giant that used to lead Slate, when you look at Pat Washington, who was the editor of the St. Louis American, she was then Freeman Bosley Jr.'s press secretary. Then she was Charlie Dooley's press secretary. Mike has put together a very strong team, And I mean, Sheila, his response to COVID, you know, deserves a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes, he had a phenomenal response to COVID.
Period. I mean, we did the first food drive on April 2nd out in Jennings at our Jennings office, and Mike and I stood there, and one of us said, "Man, we got to do this again." And I think I said that, and then Mike said, "We should do this every weekend," because Sheila, the cars were down the street and around the corner.
Yes.
And so Mike got on the phone and he put together the resources. And Sheila, we did large scale food distributions for 22 consecutive Saturdays. 22 consecutive Saturdays. And 3,500 people show up. It got so large that we had to move it from our Jennings location to our Auburn location out to Jamestown Mall. And the turnout was an indicator that people needed food, that the food insecurity in the St. Louis metropolitan area was great. Then we bumped over and did them in East St. Louis. One of Mike's strongest provisions is that we cannot let that body of water continue to separate us. So we did one in East St. Louis, then we did one in St. Clair County. And Sheila, the same response. Thousands of people showed up. So we are still doing the food distribution. We pivoted, and we're doing it now through the neighborhood church. And we just started back. We are going to be doing food distributions once a month in our more challenged neighborhoods. And then we started doing the PPE mask. So we are passing out PPE masks in the more hard hit areas where COVID is spreading. And we have probably moved about 50,000 masks. With the food distributions, the large scale, we have serviced over 80,000 families with enough food to last for 2 weeks. And it continues because of the leadership of Mike McMillan. We want to thank Fuse Marketing and the men of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. They just dropped a major workload on me where they donated 10 million masks. 10 million masks. So I'm working on a distribution infrastructure now where, you know, we are looking to move masks from St. Louis to Kansas City to Springfield, talking to our affiliates in Memphis, because we are not going to warehouse those masks. We're going to move those masks. We are working now with neighborhood churches to help the church begin to get back to Sunday service safely. We are working with the St. Louis Restaurant Association to get masks so restaurants can begin to open safely. So it's a lot of work. We just pivoted to where we are now doing vaccines in senior citizen facilities. Very excited about that because you know the seniors are the most at risk for COVID.
Right.
And you know, Sheila, sometimes a senior citizen facility, COVID can come in and it can spread fast. So we have vaccinated over 1,900 seniors in the past 3 weeks. So just under the leadership of Mike McMillan, just being able to respond, and God just gives us the tools that we need to make a difference. So it's a very humbling experience. I wouldn't trade what I do for anything. There's nothing I would rather be doing than what I'm doing right now.
And you're doing an outstanding job. I want to ask you your thoughts on this horrific pattern we're seeing, not just here in St. Louis, but across the nation. domestic violence. We're seeing where young men are getting upset with women, and not only are they killing the women, but they have no hesitation in killing the children.
Yes.
They're shooting 2-year-olds in the head,
yes,
7-year-olds in the head. What solutions do you think we can come up with, intervention to help young ladies and to help their children to preserve life? What kind of model are you thinking about that we? I know you probably can't answer this. We're gonna have you back, obviously, but
I'm going to start at the 3,000 foot level. So I'm going to start up high. We've got to have organizations, and there are some out there that are doing outstanding work, but we've got to strengthen those organizations now because COVID has really exacerbated domestic violence, where couples are forced to be at home with each other. So we would like to see domestic violence resource providers, they need more help. They need resources. So more funding should go towards domestic violence services. And those services have got to be brought into the community. Then, Sheila, family members, friends. If you know someone who's in a situation where their boyfriend even yells at them too much, and Sheila, the door swings both ways. I know men that have been the victims of domestic violence. So we have got to begin to share the information, because you can save a life. You can keep a young person from going through trauma. So we have got to deal with it from a resource. We've got to strengthen social service organizations that help support people dealing with domestic violence. Then we've got to challenge people. If you know someone that's involved in a relationship that is volatile, say something. And then, Sheila, the third thing is men have got to get back in touch with their children, especially their sons, and set that example. I don't yell at my wife because I never heard my father raise his voice at my mother, period. So I was groomed not to be violent towards women. That was in the home. That was in the home. I never saw my mother and father argue, not one time. So I've been married now for 18 years. And I've never raised my voice at my wife. Now, we can go a day or 2 or 3 without talking to each other, but she can never invoke that energy in me because I never saw it at home. Then, Sheila, the next thing is, when I was coming up, it was the code of the streets. When I was coming up, you didn't fight a girl. If you fought a girl at 9 years old, that followed you your entire life. You would be in high school and people would still say, yeah, but you had a fight with a girl. You could have been 9. So the stigma attached to fighting a girl coming up in the hood was real. We did not fight girls. Then the code of the street was you do not do anything violent against a woman. You shooting women, that's a new phenomenon. Killing kids, that's new. So we as men have got to get back in the neighborhood and we got to put some rules down. We got to lay down some rules. The rules that I was raised under coming up in JVL are gone. I'm very excited because I'm dealing with about 5 or 6 neighborhoods now. And these neighborhoods are saying, Mr. Clark, we want to begin to promote on Sundays, no shooting on Sundays. We want to promote that Sunday should be a day of peace for our senior citizens and for our children. So that's the kind of innovation that we've got to begin to come up with in our neighborhoods. We should be able to walk to church on Sundays. So these are street guys that are saying, we are going to start promoting no shootings on Sundays. So Sunday becomes a day of peace in our neighborhood. We can do that.
Sure.
And if we can get it on Sundays, then we'll be like, we could do it more than on Sundays. See, Black History Month started off as Black History Week. Then it became Black History Month. Now we understand that we got to celebrate Black history 365 days a year. So, Sheila, this domestic violence thing has to be fought. We have to empower organizations with funding to address domestic violence. Then we've got to get fathers back in the home to set an example that domestic violence is not to be tolerated. And it comes through example. Then we got to get the guys in these neighborhoods to say, man, look, it's hands off with women and children. Hands off with women and children. So it's going to take some time, Sheila. But, you know, at the Urban League, we're about to reinvigorate the Federation of Block Units, where if a family, if an individual has an outstanding warrant, you can go talk to the block captain. If a family needs help with their utilities or their rent, you should go to the Federation of Block Unit meeting. If there's a situation of domestic violence, take it to the Federation of Block Unit meeting. We've got to localize the resources. We've got to bring the resources into the neighborhood, onto the front porch, and into the living room. That's the only way to turn society around. It's not going to happen at the top.
You're absolutely right.
We know that. So it's going to start at the bottom in the neighborhood. And I'm excited. It's a lot of work, but it's like being blessed with a curse. You can't stop doing it because God shows you every day that he's using you to help people. So we are in position. We are immersed in it. And these are some very challenging times, very challenging times.
Well, James Clark, you have done a wonderful job. We have enjoyed you. We're coming to the end of our broadcast. We're going to have you back very soon because there are like 5 other major issues that I want to bring to your attention. And I would like to get some solutions from you and Mr. McMillan. So we would like for you to come back very soon, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, so we can finish this discussion. We want to thank you for all of the outstanding work that you and Mr. McMillan and the team are doing at the Urban League. You are to be commended, and you will get a lot of commendations this year for the work that you are doing. You are the St. Louis American Executive of the Year. You've done work to the point and to the level that national attention have come to your doorsteps, as well as Mr. Mike McMillan. You are listening to See Joy Network. We thank you for tuning in to Legal Views with attorney Sheila R. Stewart and our special guest, Mr. James Clark, Vice President of the Metropolitan Urban League. Please tune in with us next week, and we will have attorney Ulysses Henderson with us all the way from Beverly Hills, California. Thank you, and we appreciate this time that you have spent with us on this evening. Good night.
Good night.